I didn't really enjoy school, if I'm honest. I didn't like being in such a confined space with lots of people, different personalities. So yeah, it wasn't really somewhere that I enjoyed. So when I was younger, I wanted to be a vet because I absolutely loved animals, and that was the only career I thought available to me to do that. So that was my ambition, and I suppose I got to probably about the fourth year again of school and realised when we were it was third year when we were picking our subjects for options for the O-levels, that I realised that I probably wasn't going to get the sciences that I needed to be a vet. So at that point I realised that part of my dream wasn't going to happen. I suppose construction appeared on the radar when my mum mentioned, when I decided I quite liked the technical graphics. Couldn't see a practical application for it back then, but my mum knew people that were in the industry, and I suppose it was trying to find a journey that we could go on, and she found these courses that were available for young people to go on. They were building study courses. It was quite a daunting prospect actually starting to look for a job role. I was only one of 3 young women on the course at college, with majority young men, so straight away I knew that we were in a minority. I took a OND, so an Ordinary National Diploma in Building Studies, which was 2 years full-time course, and it incorporated a lot of aspects of building. It gave us all a grounding in what was involved in the building industry. And then I started applying for jobs, and it was straight away it was quite obvious that possibly wasn't going to be easy, and my mum actually suggested that I drop the prefix for my name, so I just have my initial and the surname when I applied for jobs, and the actual job that I got in the end, the letter I got back from them saying come for an interview said "Dear Mr." And I thought, actually, I'm not going to correct them. I'm going to take this and I'm going to go in there. So yeah, I went in and they were quite shocked initially that I was a young woman. But I thought I've got my foot in the door. So hopefully they'll judge me on what I can do. And I took a portfolio in and showed them evidence of what I'd produced. And they accepted me and took me on as a management trainee. So it was worthwhile. One of the projects I worked on during my management traineeship was the extension to the Wealdon District Council offices in Hailsham. So I was 19, it was the summer that I turned 19, and I was working with a wonderful site manager, Tom Bridgeland, who was one of the older site managers at Llewellyn's. He had a wealth of experience and I was so lucky to work with him. I would say working on the project at Hailsham definitely helped with my personal growth. It helped to work with the site manager that I worked with, because again, my gender didn't come into it. He treated me as I believe he would any assistant site manager or trainee that he would have worked with. I suppose the scariest part was interacting with the guys out on site. That was probably the scariest part, really. Tom didn't give me any real sort of tell them to do this or tell them to do that, and that wasn't really the way I ever viewed site management. First job as a site manager, basically, in my own right, was to look after the enabling works at the tennis courts in Eastbourne. I really enjoyed it from the aspect of the setting out responsibility, which was huge, absolutely huge, because if I got it wrong, that had real implications. I found, especially doing the role as a site manager, my first role was extremely uncomfortable, and most days I had to sort of push myself out of my comfort zone. By pushing myself out of my comfort zone, it then meant I knew that I could do more. So that was a good grounding for me from that respect. And I think it was probably once the stands were built around them that I actually realised that my work was still visible. It wasn't covered up, so it was really good. I could see my legacy was there then for all to see. So where I am now, myself and my husband are 7 years into running our own business, run a construction company as a main contractor. From the early days of not knowing what I wanted to do to where I am now running a company, it's huge. I wouldn't have envisaged myself doing this now, and I wouldn't have even envisaged it when we first started the company of where we are now. I would say to anybody that if I can do this, then anybody can really, because it's not setting your sights on. It's realising that you are going to fail at some things, but from failing you learn and you adapt and you can only get stronger at it. But it's also, I'm trying to think of what I want to say. It's not setting limitations on yourself. It's knowing that you're capable of anything. And I would say what I've done a lot of through my journey is learn from other people. And the people I've met, I've tried to get as much from them as I can, but also still use their knowledge in my journey and have them sort of almost, email them or phone them and just say, look, we've got this situation, what do you think? What would you do? And use their expertise, because you can't expect to know everything, and it's having the right people with you on the journey that you go on. My advice to young people, and especially young women who are thinking about coming into the construction industry, is to approach employers, approach companies, and ask them what opportunities they've got out there. Produce a CV. That would be really good to get down on paper, sort of what experience they've got, qualifications if they've got any, because I think it's just that initiative. Because again, as a company, if somebody walked into our office door and had a CV, or actually approached us and said, I'm looking for a role in construction, the fact that they've actually used their initiative and come to see us straight away, brilliant. That's a tick, a big tick straight away. Employers are people, they're not scary. Approach them, get in touch, see what opportunities they've got, and it will be a start of a brilliant journey for you. Seeing what I'd produced on paper. Hello, baby. Oh.